Film Review, Movies, Music, Culture, Politics, Society podcast, interviews, movie reviews, and more. Live Sundays at 5:30 p.m. on the Film Review Live channel. Subscribe.
Hi, this is Bernadette Stannis, Thelma from Good Times, and you're watching the Film Review.
How do I start off by spilling water on me?
I don't know.
Really?
I don't know how you started, but what's going on, people? What is going on? You know you haven't seen us in a second because we took a hiatus until January 3rd, 2021. But there's so many great new films that have come out,
new films and music,
that we had to come on for this special edition of hashtag TFR Podcast Live. Plus we got some new digs. Did you check out the new digs? The spot, we're on the spot. Hashtag you found the spot.
Am I blending in with the...
I don't know. How could you be blending in with the purple? I don't know how that's happening. Your shirt is showing up as blue, and you're really not blue. But it's cool. It's cool. It's better than me, because I had on the green shirt that we have advertised over here, and I was totally gone on the green screen. So that purple blending in is not bad, but we realize we can't wear purple and we can't wear green on a green screen. We just learned that. Listen, people, the phone lines are open, 213-943-3358 if you want to contact and talk to us, you know what I mean? Let me do this. There we go. You know what I'm saying? I had to do some white balance. You know, I am a professional at what I do. That's right. So look, Sylvie'S Love. That's right. Sylvie'S Love. Mauve Rainey'S. Black Bottom. And this one called Witches, where Chris Rock is narrating with Octavia Spencer as grandmother. Can you believe it?
Anne Hathaway is a witch.
That's right, as one of the witches. So look,
the main witch.
We are glad that you are here with us today to see these new digs, right? Come January 3rd, that we're going to have an all new intro and all that. Make sure that you lock in hashtag you found the spot. When you go to Google, just put in hashtag you found the spot and you will find all kinds of things, right? So without further ado, let's go through what we're talking about. The husband and wife team, Crazy Dee and Tracey, had to produce a special pop-up of hashtag TFR Podcast Live on hashtag You Found the Spot to discuss some of the so many films released just before Christmas. And Happy New Year 2021. Aren't we all waiting for 2021?
Looking forward to it.
Sylvie'S Love. Starring Tessa Thompson as Sylvia, the title character. Right? And what is this guy's name? Because you know I am bad with African names. I am bad with African names as I am as bad with Polish names. And don't even get me to talking about Russian names, because when you see those spelled out in English, it still looks like a foreign language. Now, Nnamdi Asomugha, that's his name. Now, Nnamdi Asomugha is her co-star. He plays Robert. This is a romance film, but how does it measure up to a film like The Way We Were or The Prince of Tides? both starring Barbara Streisand, right?
Right.
Then we move to Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, right? Starring Viola Davis as the title character, Chadwick Boseman as Levee, and an all-star ensemble cast. Does August Wilson's play translate enough to screen to be worth the stream? Does August Wilson's play translate to screen to be worth the stream? Then we close with Witches, a series which Chris Rock, a movie which Chris Rock is the narrator, and Octavia Spencer as the grandmother. She stars as the grandmother. Is it great or can you wait? All right, people. So let's get started. First of all, how have you been? You know how we start out.
Yeah.
How have you been during this hiatus?
Just,
how's you been?
You know, just chilling and listening to music, and like we was checking out Lil Nas X's new video, which is visually beautiful. His song is hot, and who else? Her new song Damage, nice. Megan Thee Stallion has a new album, which is nice. He said Eminem has a new album. I heard it's nice. Just a lot of music. Ariana Grande, her new single is nice. So it's
so a lot of new music, and we're gonna be talking about that music. As you see, my wife is wearing the purple version of the Spot T-shirt, and of course, I'm wearing the film review because the green shirt just made me totally disappear, and the hat just made me totally disappear because you can't play on green screen wearing the same color green.
So people been talking about like the COVID-19 plus, right? So it can go either way, right? Some people gain, some people lose. Right. So I see that you have been eating healthy.
Yes, I have been eating healthy, people. That's right. Can't you tell? Healthy, Can't you tell? I'm just, you know, as we go along here, because you know you have to eat healthy. I can see that you have been eating healthy as well, right? Yeah. Look at that rich skin, right? I've got a little 24-hour shadow. We're just so ecstatic to be here with you. This is an impromptu pop-up to talk to you. You see I've got my festive cap on, winter, part of our new line of winter caps that will be coming next fall. Not this season, but you know, you have to be ahead a whole season or seasons to be prepared for the fall. So this goes along with the gray shirt of the Spot, this hat. But you know, we'll be talking about that soon. I had a Spot. But let's get started, right? Let's get started. Let me unplug this, right? Let me listen to my headphones. Yeah, see, we're hearing that feedback. That's the one thing, you know, I'm hearing that. Okay. So hold up one second.
Okay, so children, like Blue Ivy has been nominated for a Grammy Award, right? And Nicki Minaj, this is her son's first Christmas, right? And so I believe, didn't they say that the Kardashians, their children, may be doing something with, I think, Disney.
Right.
So it's a lot.
So everybody is moving on.
The little baby.
You see that I had to kill the air purifier. Right? For this time, right? I had to kill the air purifier. How do you like the way we look? We invested in some new cool lights. There is no heat coming off of these new lights that we have. We have invested because we're moving into the spot. Hashtag you found the spot. Make sure that you use that hashtag on Google. Hashtag you found the spot and check everything out. So let's get started, right? Let's get started. Let's start.
After we cover these movies, we have to talk about a few shows because we have been like watching a couple of other shows. But before we go into this, I do have to say this is the last season of Shameless.
Yes.
Love that show. That has got to be, I was telling you the other day, the most hustling family like ever. They will find a way to take care of each other, and they will always eat and have a roof over their heads.
The oldest sister thought that she was going to leave and have a hustling career in Hollywood, but then Liam Neeson, his scandal killed his movie, which put her back, and they didn't bring her back. They said non-gratas. All right, people. So look, how do you like the new background, the digs? You know what I'm saying? Woo! Look, so Sylvie'S Love. Now listen, Sylvie'S Love does not drop until December 23rd, right? It does not drop until December 23rd. So let me go over here. Let me go over here and change over the video so that you will be able to watch the trailer. You know how we do. We are very interactive, right? We're in media 2, right? Let me get to media 2. There we go. And then we just go a little bit like this. We go over here and we push play. First I have to refresh. There we go. All right, here we are. Now, this is the trailer for Sylvie'S Love. I'm just looking at, do you know who designed the new digs for TFR Podcast Live on the spot? Hashtag you found the spot. Do you know who designed those digs?
Yes.
Who do you think did it? Who do you think did it?
You did.
You know, you would be 100% right. I'm just loving the way the new digs look, right?
Right.
And you too can advertise right here in this spot where we're advertising our fundraiser. About that in a minute. We just got to get it all in while we're here, because we're so ecstatic to be here with you right now at this time. So look, Sylvie'S Love. Sylvie'S Love comes out on Prime Video, on Amazon, on December 23rd, right? I want to shout out to Felicia Haney and MC Chill, who had offered for me to come on and watch their early screening of it. But when I had got the message, my wife and I were headed out to the store. It was 45 to 30 minutes before the early screening began when I read the message. And so we weren't able to do that, but I thank them for it next time. But you know, as we have been doing this film review for 3 years, you know, our connections out there sent an opportunity to do a Q&A, a question and answer hour with the director, and before that they sent a private screening of Sylvie'S Love that comes out December 23rd, 2020. We have been moving with the film review. Do not doubt it. Do not doubt it. Do not doubt it as we play the trailer again. So now, Sylvie'S Love stars again Tessa Thompson and Nnamdi Asomugha. Nnamdi Asomugha. Now you know who Nnamdi Asomugha is married to?
Kerry Washington.
That's right. He is Kerry Washington's husband. He was a former professional football player, right?
Right.
He is traveling and expanding upon what Jim Brown did after leaving the NFL. He went on to a successful Hollywood movie career, being the leading man. Now, Sylvie'S Love. I'm going to tell you off the rip that Sylvie'S Love is a love story. What you're not going to see in this film is anything about the Jim Crow.
Right.
About the Jim Crow. You're not going to hear anything about the Jim Crow, right? You're not going to see anything about black oppression at the hands of the European. You're not going to see that, right? What you are going to see in this film is a upward middle class American black story directed by Eugene Ash and written by Eugene Ash, right? So it is a upwardly mobile Harlem middle class existence. You're going to hear some jazz, you're going to hear some rock and roll, you're going to hear some soul, you're going to hear a lot of Sam Cooke in this film. You're going to love it. Now I know that the ad says the 25th, but it's coming out on the 23rd. So look, the synopsis of the film: a young woman who is engaged to be married has a chance meeting with the person who will be her soulmate, or will he? And on the other side of the story, a young man who is a jazz musician has a chance encounter with a young lady at a record store in Harlem that he can see her being his wife. Or will she? That is the synopsis. That is the hashtag TFR Podcast Live synopsis of this film. So now, when you first open up, it is about the pacing of the film. You see, we're doing this with no script. We're getting ready to run through this. Smash the like button, smash the share button, share this. Make sure that you go over to, we're on the Derek Ellsbury page on Facebook, right? We're on the film review channel on YouTube. The Film Review Life channel on YouTube, right? And we're also on The Spot. Hashtag YOUFOUNDTHESPOT page, channel on YouTube. Make sure you go there. So we are going without script because this film is so
beautiful.
good.
It's well done. It's a romance.
It is a romance. There is no Jim Crow. There is no oppression. There is upward mobility. You see the bourgeoisie in it, right? Or what they would call the boule. And you see a hierarchy, but the hierarchy does not matter when love comes into play. Would you agree with that?
Yep, I would agree with that. And what I love about the film is, you know, like I said, it's a romance, it's a love story. It's about relationships, you know, friendships, the relationship also between Sylvie and her cousin. We talked about that. You know,
so we're gonna break this all down,
right?
But I just want to get your perspective on it because we're gonna break this down. So look,
visually beautiful.
Visually beautiful. We're gonna listen. Let's talk about her cousin.
Okay.
Right. Let's look up the names now, real quick, so we can know the cousins there. Now listen. When you want to see a relationship of what cousins should be like, you should watch this film. Sylvie's cousin is for her cousin from the very beginning of the film until the end of the film. She wants the best for her cousin. She roots for her cousin, and she is the character written that is the moral compass of her cousin. When her cousin seems to, go astray or not really know what's actually happening, her cousin is in the picture to give perspective, which is really her consciousness, which is Sylvie's consciousness.
Her cousin is played by Aja Naomi King. She plays Mona, and most of us know her from How to Get Away with Murder, Viola Davis' show.
And what Nat Turner's story. She played his wife. She sure
did play Nat Turner's wife.
That's right.
She sure did. And what I love about her character is they're cousins, but they're more like sisters and best friends.
That's right.
And then it reminded me of my cousins that I'm close to. And like for instance, I was talking about music earlier, my cousin Monique sent me over Anthony Hamilton's new single, which is really nice. But me and her was on the phone last night for 3 hours. So it's just kind of like that type of, relationship. So seeing this film and seeing a relationship between her and her cousin Mona is just well written.
There is no envy or jealousy between this relationship. This is like when black people work together. So we'll put a pin right there. You have to watch this film for that. She should get an award for supporting actress just for that. Should.
Her acting is superb.
Now, Tessa Thompson. This has to be the best acting job I have ever seen Tessa Thompson do. I've never seen Tessa Thompson bring a character to life. She's been in multiple films, and the director,
a great actress.
The director during Eugene Ash during the Q&A said that she had been in multiple films, so she knows about blocking and she knows about bringing the character to life. But under his direction, and maybe it's the subject matter of this, she comes alive as an actor.
It's just like it was so palpable. It's like she was Sylvie, that character, it's just like all of the raw emotions and the emotions and the feelings and the love that she had with Robert, and the love she had for her child, the relationship between her and her mom and dad, and again her cousin Mona. Is just the acting was superb, and there was like a lot of layers to her character. And then I talked about it. We talked about it earlier. It reminded me of the character, meaning like in the way we were. So, I love Barbara Streisand as an actress as well as a musician, but it's just like the same emotion that I felt when I first saw The Way We Were, right? And in A Star Is Born, I felt that same emotion watching this film. You just so invested in the character, right? And it's just like every emotion and feeling that character is going through, you're actually watching it and you can feel it. It just seems so real. And to me, I don't know. I wonder if this is Tessa Thompson's one of her favorite characters, right? Because she seemed to really, really, really love playing this part. This is the best work that I've seen her in, and we've seen her in a lot of really, really, really good projects. But this right here is...
But she emotes.
She did a great... She really does. Oscar winning...
Yeah, it's Oscar winning.
Yeah.
Best actress type thing. Yeah. So that means that puts her up there with Viola Davis for the next film we're going to talk about in a second. But let's talk about now Nnamdi Asomugha, right? Okay. As an actor, coming from out of being a former football player, he was the producer behind Beast of the Wild, where it introduced the little girl that's grown up now that was on Blackish, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's been a producer, a philanthropist, as well as in front of the screen now as an actor, right?
Right. Wow.
His work is incredible in this. The way, the chemistry that they have on screen. Oh my goodness. You have to tell people.
Seems so real.
You have to tell people to make this the #1 film.
Yes.
Right? This is a romance.
Right.
This is we like to call it Afro-mance, because there's a lot that goes along with being in a romance, you know, because that's Roman, you know. But this is truly an Afro-mance on film. Again, there is no Jim Crow. There is no oppression.
It's just a beautiful told story about two human beings.
Two human beings.
And that's it. Well written. No stereotypes in the film.
No stereotypes in the film.
Just a well written
film.
Yeah.
And everyone is just who they are.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And when you look at, I'm pausing to give you the imagery, because the cinematography and the choice of color palette in this, it's shot low key, which definitely brings out the richness in the color of, you know, black people's skin. But you know, I've been watching some of the Christmas holiday movies, and some of the high key is doing just as great, because we're high key right now, right? So look, the music in it, I mean, it is beautifully done, right? The cinematography, the movement of the camera, the color palette, the set design, the choice of wardrobe, actually using undergarments from that time that are rigid, that would make you stand a certain way. All of this is incorporated in
hair,
the film. Hair and makeup, the outer clothing, actual vintage from that time.
And vintage vehicles.
Right. I mean, there's a beautiful situation that happens at the end of the film that kind of gives connote to her father. And you have to watch it close, because this film is not only told with the dialogue, but it is told with imagery. And the imagery on this film, it was as Eugene Ash says, it was a lower budget film, but it does not look low budget.
No, it doesn't.
The sound quality, the use of the recording system, when you're in a party and you hear the people and you hear the music, and it's clear and crystal. And they used us, watch the credits, right? Because watch the credits, because they use a certain type of camera to get this low-key grain. I love grain in film. In film that doesn't have grain, it's like you're using a DSLR and you don't really know how to use it, because you don't know how to put grain in to make it look like film, so it looks all popping crystal clear. That's not how film is supposed to look. But anyway, that's just the perspective there. So look, cinematography, a 10.
Yes.
Set design, a 10. The wardrobe, a 10. Hair and makeup, going through generations. You meet these people when they're in their 20s, and you move into middle age. That's a 10. The acting, the emoting of the actors, I'm telling you.
Oh my gosh, because let me tell you, you can't tell me when the character Robert, right, when he walks and he sees the record store, we don't want to give anything away, you have to see it. But when he sees the record store and he sees the sign, the hiring sign, and when he first he looks through the window and he sees Sylvie, like all of the emoting in his face, it's as if in that very moment he fell in love.
and you
his
see
acting is great.
You see his reflection through the glass while seeing her. Beautiful cinematography.
Yes.
You have to tell the people, all of your people, to make this film #1 on Amazon Prime when it comes out December 23rd. We had to talk about it because it came early and we got to watch it.
And the acting is great, and it's a beautiful film.
Beautiful film.
Beautiful film.
Right? The supporting actors. You see Coco again.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen her since Fame.
Not Irene Cara, but
from
Coco,
television
from
fame.
the television fame. Coco, you see her again. You know how black people do. We say the other acting names that they said. So Coco from Fame, you don't even know it's her, and you still won't know it's her because we're not going to tell you what scene she comes.
Oh no,
in.
no.
And then the dude from the Law Show,
Law and Order.
Law and Order, right? He's in it. You don't even know because they are acting their butts off. You don't know that it's them. Yeah. So, what would you rate Sylvie's Love?
Definitely give it like a 10, like across the board. It's just like well done. It's well written. It's a beautiful story, and like I said, it just took me back to my favorite films, one of my favorite films, The Way We Were, right? So just the feeling, the emotion, just the acting is just
so
a great film.
So it's up there with The Way We Were.
It's up there with Barbara Streisand and
the
Robert Redford's film.
And The Prince of Tides with Nick Nolte and Barbara.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I mean, it's just a classic. I mean, it's a new film, but it just feels so... This film, I have no doubt, because, I'm a big fan of TCM, Turner Classic Movies. And this film will definitely be a classic film. One day. It's just a beautiful film.
It's a beautiful film.
It's a beautiful film.
Beautiful
Everyone needs to see it.
Everyone needs to see it.
Eva Longoria is also in the film. It was good to see her. I mean, it's just like they have like a stellar cast.
A stellar ensemble cast of heavy hitters in this film. Yes. It is an independent film. So what would you give it?
A 10.
Yeah,
definitely.
I give it a 10 too. However, people, as we go, there is always politics in it. And I didn't want to we wanted to come in and do the shows where we just do reviews, but there's always politics. And the politics happen during the interview, the Q&A, all right? So I did some screenshots so that people would understand what I was talking about. And I have video, right? So look. This is, let me bring this up, all right? So this is right here to the far, your left, your right on the screen, your left, our left, your right on the screen is Eugene Ash. He is the director. The person that is on my right, your left, is the moderator who was asking questions, right? Okay. So, I really didn't want to get into this, but this is very important. This is about property, right? This is about your intellectual property and not having it stolen. Now, arguably, I don't know if they really promoted that this guy was going to be on, because when I got on the Zoom, I was the only person that was a review dude that was on there. There was no one else on there on that particular part of the Zoom but me. Now, they might have been simulcasting on another platform. Maybe they have a Facebook page and they were simulcasting on there, right?
Right.
But on the Zoom, I was the only one in the chat that was there to ask questions. No one else was there. It was me and the person who was receiving the messages and saying that we're going to push this along for you, right? So I'm writing questions, right? So I write quite a few questions, right? So let's put some of those up real quick. Hate to get into the politics, but it always has to be American black politics, especially when it deals with intellectual property, okay? All right, so let me bring this up big so that you can see it. Let me bring this up. So I ask, so I said, we loved this film. Now listen, I'm not, my wife is a Barbara Streisand fan. Do you know what I'm saying? I have seen The Way We Were come up on TV and I have passed it by. But my wife is such a fan that she made me sit down and watch it, and it is a film. And when I looked at Sylvie'S Love, it put me in the framework of a true love movie, a true romance, a true Afro-mance film. So I said, when I said we love this film because we're talking about this, right? So this gives me angst because you're trying to take away intellectual property that came from love of my wife, that I have for my wife, that we even sat there and we would watch that I even sat there and watched it and found out that it was a great film. Right? Because I had liked the Prince of Tides before, but I had never watched that, right? But I said, Barbara Streisand can act, right? So I wrote, we love this film, right? The sound, it is on the level of The Way We Were, right? And then I go on to give him salute and said, thank you for making a romance film, right? This is what I wrote. Now, the moderator is supposed to read the comments or the questions that the viewers are saying. But oh no, the moderator did not do that. You want to know what the moderator did? Well, we're going to play it for you, right? We're going to play it for you up here. You'll see it in the video screen over here, right? Let me pull back right here, okay? So let me play it for you.
With Cirque and Man, that's just, it's the genre, it's inherent in the genre. So.
Yeah, I thought about Douglas Sirk a lot. Douglas Sirk, and I also thought a lot about The Way We Were. That was another movie, which is late.
Yeah, well, that was a gigantic influence on me.
Nigga, that's what I asked. He read that question.
Besides the chemistry of Redford and Streisand.
Okay, so you heard my reaction because I was live recording, right? And so open mic recording. So we're watching this, right? And he had never mentioned anything about The Way We Were before, but he reads, this is about intellectual property. When it is written down, it becomes intellectual property. And everything that I write down, I catch it to keep it because it is my intellectual property.
Well, when some people run out of ideas, they shouldn't, but some people...
This makes me question what's happening in Hollywood and what I don't know who the person is. It's somebody that's in Hollywood, but I'm not about Hollywood anyway. I'm about independent American black filmmaking and helping the minority children
and I think that
behind the scenes.
And that may be, I feel that that's an issue and something that needs to be worked on, because I've heard other American black, podcasters talk about the same thing. It's kind of like they miss the mark when they take these various projects to only shows who traditionally they're used to going to. They don't bring like the different the film or the review of their film or interview for this project or that project to people who have the independent people who have different shows, because they miss the mark by not taking it to the ground level independent people who do have a platform that will push your project out. They're doing it the old way, taking it to the same establishment, and they're just stuck with taking it to the establishment. And establishment, they're not connected to the community. Like when you told me that there was only one freaking you and him that you saw logged on, as good as this film is, it should have been well marketed. Like, I didn't know anything about it, right? But like all of the different podcasters that I listened to, none of them even mentioned it.
They're going to be mentioning it after it comes out.
But see, the thing is, if people don't know about it, and they're following the same old, we're going to take it to the same establishment, to the same people, instead of taking the time and taking it to the independent podcasters. And I don't even want to say new, because half of these podcasters have been around for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, and 2, 3, 4 years, but are making an impact.
Right.
And people of all around the world, of all ages and of all races, do listen to independent podcasters, and I'm talking about American Black, right?
That's right.
So we have people from all over the world, and we have people from all races that watch our podcast, as well as others. So they're making a grave mistake when they do stuff like that, because for that man to have to basically kind of like take the question and wrap it up in his.
It wasn't a question, it was a statement.
Well, take the statement as if it's his own.
Yeah, he takes it and says, oh yes, I was thinking of it.
No, you weren't thinking about it.
I was thinking of it like the way we were. And then what does the director say, Eugene? What does Eugene say?
And I also thought a lot about The Way We Were. That was another movie, which is later.
Yeah, well, that was a gigantic influence on me.
Nigga, that's what I asked. He read that question. You see,
it's crazy.
You see, he said that was a gigantic influence. You see, because American Black people watch a lot of movies.
Right.
It used to be a time when American Black people would say white people represent Black people, because they saw very few Black people. So when you saw elegance, you said, this is me. And so bringing something to the screen, not a copycat, but something to that level, like this, Sylvie'S, Love, right? They're bringing it to that level. You will say, this is The Way We Were.
You know what's funny is we've seen many like Q&As, and I love the ones who, when they'll say such and such act, they'll name the different people who are asking the questions.
Mm-hmm.
Normally that's what good ones do, right? Because it's like a connection, and you're saying this person is asking this question, or this person is asking that question. But what I found interesting is certain things he didn't name, who the person was asking the question, fine. But at certain times he'd say, well, this question was asked, and he'll ask it. But what I didn't respect is how he took the question and not stating that it was from a viewer.
Right.
He took it and wrapped it in like his own.
Made it with
so
his.
I'm thinking, if you are right now, if you are not able to sit down with someone and ask them questions after watching their film, maybe it's something that you really need to kind of rethink doing. Because if you don't have a passion anymore, or let's say if you're uncomfortable with a certain type of person or a certain group of people or whatever, maybe not let someone else interview. So then they can ask the questions. Because when you have a love, whether it's for music or for film, or it could even be decorating, right? Or designing. It doesn't matter who the designer is or who the architecture is that design this beautiful home or piece, or who the artist is, or who made the film. It's about the love of art. So it doesn't matter what culture it is, what race it is. Like, none of that matters. So you should be able to sit down with anybody
and be able to
discuss and conduct an interview. And be able to give
credit to those. You know, he could have said, I was thinking the same thing like this viewer.
Right.
Then it would have been okay, but he took it and said, I was thinking the way we were.
Hey, okay. if you don't have any questions, maybe you shouldn't conduct that interview. Pass it on to someone else.
So right here, I'm asking different questions because I'm the only one in the room. Maybe he was coming up with other questions from someplace else. I don't know where that was happening, but on the Zoom, I was the only one there. And so I was asking questions about cinematography. I was asking about the color palette. That question wasn't asked. Right? Let's see what other questions weren't asked, right? So then I asked a question about Tessa Thompson, because Tessa Thompson, about his direction of Tessa Thompson, right? And I was like, the direction of Tessa Thompson, that's like the best that I've ever seen her act. Like, she brings forth in this something that I have never seen her done, never seen her do,
right.
Which means that your direction was on point, and he gave credit. Okay, so finally, because I was so disjointed, I don't know if it happened in the middle, after taking the first thing that I wrote, and he ran with it, right? I don't know if it happened at the beginning or closer to the end, but I was just hot after that. I asked about, wait a minute, where is it? I asked about.
It's the chemistry of Redford and Streisand.
Okay, so, that's my natural reaction. So this is the question that he came up with.
The way Pollock put it together, it's just, I really,
So he goes on to talk about the way we were, right? The way we were. DLS says, would you call Love and Basketball an Afromance? I would say, compared to this movie, I would say no. I would say that, what's the one with the poetry that Tate was in?
And I can see the CD.
I can see, but Love Jones.
Love Jones. Yeah.
Love Jones is not Afromance either. Not once you see this film. This is something else. This is something that liberates American blacks from having to have the joking person stereotype, having to have, just the stereotypes are not there. This is about human beings. So no, this is not on that level, and the conflicts are not about, like in Love and Basketball, it's not about, my career over your career, or, we're not working out, or etc. etc. It's not about that. It's about the time that they're in,
right? And
how circumstance or happenstance destiny will not. Well, you have to watch the film. Destiny will not deny this. That's what I'm going to say. That it is not. It was undeniable from the beginning, right? What's up to Craig Baxter? He said he sent something to my messenger. I checked that out. So,
and I know that
he goes on and talks about the way we were for a while.
There's so much he left on the editing room.
Well, I'm going to move on to some audience questions here. Let's see. One is this.
So my question was, and he finally got to my question. He asked only one because I had quite a few because I was the only one in the room. And I said, how did you decide on the pacing of the film? Cutting between 1962, that opens up the film, back to 5 years earlier. Who decided on non-linear? Now, after I asked that question, right? No, Brown Sugar doesn't compete with this. No. Brown Sugar,
all of the films being mentioned are good. Films.
They are good. The Inkwell, beautiful, does not compete with this. This is on something new. This is something new that we have not seen before in American black cinema. This is something new. It's always about the struggle. It's always about, oh, the system is pulling us apart. Oh, the person is going to prison. Oh, there's some drugs. Oh, none of that is in this period. It's a period piece based in 1962 that goes back 5 years back to when the story begins of this Afromance, right? Who decided on non-linear? Now, after I asked this question, then, in my opinion, the moderator began to step up his questions and get more technical with his questions because they were pedestrian up until that point. But I'm there to elevate because I went to film. But anyway, I don't have to talk about my resume. It just shows across. So this is what he says when this question is asked. Listen.
This is a question about the pacing of the movie. It says, how did you decide on the pacing of the film cutting between 1962 back to 5 years earlier? How did you decide on a non-linear version of the story?
I said, who decided? The way he read it, it was pedestrian. The part when he put it in my opinion. All of this is my opinion. But as far as intellectual property stealing, I am not, and my opinion will never change about that. You should have gave credit to the person who said the way we were, because in my opinion, you weren't thinking about it, my man. I don't care who you are in the industry. Who decided on non-linear puts it into the director. See, how questions are asked are very important. The way he asked it, not asking it exactly the way I wrote it, made it pedestrian. But when you say who decided, it opens the director up to say, well, I decided. But so this is how he answered the question as it was stated to him.
I just I had a couple of drafts early on where it was linear, and it just, I felt like you needed kind of you kind of needed, I wanted the opening feeling, I wanted it to feel like we were in that kind of cool jazz 60s, like 1962, 1963. That was like a taste thing. I didn't like opening in the 50s. I just felt like I didn't want to spend that much time in the 50s and in the beginning. I wanted to let people know that it was going to be that there was this kind of Breakfast at Tiffany's type of thing coming, and that there was this kind of cool, slick, Technicolor movie coming. And that, because we used a lot of like kind of sepia and
no one asks directors that question. There are people who are passed on that I say I have questions for that were never asked to these people about what they did and how they made their decisions about how they do it, right? And he opens up, even though he asked it in a pedestrian way, in my opinion, not reading it exactly where I wrote it. The man opens up and he tells you his his intellectual thought on it, which is a teachable moment for filmmakers, especially American black filmmakers, right? Right.
Well, that's why what's important, the program that you have, as far as teaching children, what you was doing prior to this whole COVID thing, but now you have to do it online, so this whole educating children in film and...
That's right, people. Make sure that at the top of where we are, there is a donate, right, link. You click there and it takes you to the Spot t-shirt. We're fundraising with our new t-shirt in green. You see, my wife is wearing it in purple. Nice purple and gold Laker colors, right? Not really Laker colors, but purple and gold. Prince, right? Royalty, right? So, but we have the green with the white logo on it because it's for spring.
Right.
And then when summer comes in, the royalty comes, and when the fall comes in, we have the gray and black coming. But this is for spring because life springs eternal in spring, and it is green.
Right.
And this is what we're doing, and we have the mask coming, but we are fundraising right here, right? So you click there, if you have a business, you click, you donate the 20, and we bring you on cross-marketing on the show to talk about your business, and we are global.
Or a podcast, if you have a podcast.
Or you have a podcast. We talk about everything. Support the move because it's for a good cause to teach minority children how to work the camera, how to work sound. Sound is very important. You can have a shoddy picture, but you got the best sound. People will ignore the picture. So what else did the man say from the question, how did you decide on the pacing of the film cutting between 1962 back to 5 years earlier? Who decided on non-linear? Well, he answers that.
And like that kind of feeling, even in the clothing early on for the 50s stuff.
Right.
And then 60s gets really, really cool. Like it gets cool just in temperature, So I wanted to open with that and let you feel that was happening. And that kind of buys you, that period in the 50s, I think. For me, it does. And then I had it where I spent a lot of time in that opening, like in the 60s, and then flashback like later on in it. And I didn't really like that either. It felt like it was felt like a weird kind of, like we were stuck in the middle for a while. So this seemed to work the best. But it was in the script. It wasn't, we futzed around with it a little bit in the editing room, but it was basically in the script.
So it was basically in the script. So, one of the questions, I have to take my credit because so often we have seen in recent months and years that people do not want to give people credit. So we believe in taking our credit. Right. Because if you're not going to give credit, I'm sure going to take it. It opens up. He opens up and he gives the answer. But as far as the intellectual property, that makes me question, just my opinion, it makes me question what is happening with people presenting something to this person and then that person somehow hijacking it. Just my opinion, I don't know. But it would appear this is minuscule. But you could have gave credit. Because it's intellectual property.
Now
it's intellectual
they
thought.
might as well just go back to just doing the interview and just sit and interview the people and not do the interaction. And because for those who I respect the establishments because there are some that they actually do what is really truly a Q&A.
Right.
Because they will read, it came from such and such at such and such, and their question to you is, I've seen that. That's legitimate, right? But for those who they're not going to even really interact with the audience, and all they want to do is like just take the questions to conduct the interview. That's not a real interaction, right? So you might as well, in that format, just sit down, turn on the cameras, Janine interview the celebrities.
Janine Turner said, "Nice session."
Hey, Janine.
On the Derek Ellsbury Facebook page, right?
Hey, Janine.
So look, we want to say what's up to Tanya Congress.
Yes.
She's out there watching.
Yes.
She says, looks and is reminiscent of Sidney Poitier.
Yes.
So, we've hit that. We hit that in nauseum. So let's move on, people. Let's move on to Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Make sure you smash the share button, smash the like button.
Yes.
Let people know that we are on, because we are giving you reviews on this. Now, this is on Netflix. It's playing right now.
And speaking of Janine, and I know Janine, you will love this film. You have to watch it. You have to watch Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. You will love it.
Based in a hazy, hot day in Chicago, Illinois.
Yes.
Placed in Chicago, Illinois because Ma Rainey's record label was in Chicago. And what you learn about Chicago, Illinois during that time is that Chicago, Illinois was really not that much different than where the people moved from when they moved from Mississippi up to Chicago, because the Caucasians followed them, just like when many of Mississippi American blacks moved to California, the police chief went to Mississippi to hire soldiers, Caucasians that believed in segregation. But where we go from a film that doesn't talk about that to one that hits it in the peripheral, right? That you see it, but it is not what the film is about, right? Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, starring Viola Davis, Chadwick Boseman, his posthumous portrayal of a character of a trumpet player named Levee. He is not around to enjoy the accolades that comes from his stellar performance in this film. We need the other people, because I want to talk about Glenn Thurman, and I want to talk about Domingo, and I mean everyone in this. This is an ensemble piece, hard hitters, and it deals with, on a larger scale, it deals with a psychosis, and we're going to get to that, right?
Right.
So go ahead and go through the people real quick.
Okay,
we already talked about Chad and
Viola, right? Of course, they're starring in, along with Taylor Page, Coleman Domingo, who we have reviewed in multiple films.
If you have never seen, Red Hook Summer, Spike Lee's Red Hook Summer, Mr. Domingo has a pivotal role. He must be on the screen for about 7 minutes, but it is, maybe I'll give it 10. 7 to 10 minutes he is on the screen, and this is a pivotal moment, and it twists everything up that what you thought about. Always go see Red Hook Summer, Spike Lee's Red Hook Summer. First half is shot by the students, by the teenagers. Second half of the film, when this happens, Spike Lee sits down on the film and takes it forward to conclusion, right? So listen.
We'll do the rest of the cast.
Go ahead.
Glenn Turman.
Now, if you know, we just talked about him on Fargo.
Right. Oh, and he killed it in Fargo.
Yes, he did. And, of course, JD's Revenge, classic.
Right.
And, of course, Cooley High.
Yes.
If you haven't seen these films, keep going.
Jeremy Shamos, Michael Potts, Duzan Brown, Jonathan Coiney, Remington Sinclair, Phil Nundarzi, and Will Canny.
And of course, extras that are in Chicago.
Right.
So the story opens up and there is a car accident or a car incident, and you really don't know what's happening. Right. And this is where you see Ma Rainey's her full personality comes to life. Yes. She arcs in the let's go back.
On a hot summer day in Chicago.
Hot summer day. But it opens up actually as if there are some hound dogs chasing someone. Okay. Chasing two boys. But it turns into a tent. I'm going to call it a tent revival where they're standing in line to get in to see Ma Rainey and her tent tour. She had tours down south where she went to sea, and she was bringing in bank. Right. So she did not need, she was not beholding, and this is what you see in this film, that she is not beholding to the record company that wants to record her voice. Right. Because she is already raking in bank. She is self-determined. She is a self-determined American black woman. Right. This is what you see. Yeah. Now, like the Ma Rainey character, the Levee character wants to be self-determined, but he uses his mouthpiece a lot, maybe too much to be self-determined and not be willing to, I would say, pay dues. Right. Right? Right. And so he's not willing to pay dues, but each one of the band members, because they are Ma Rainey's band, not the band that has Ma Rainey singing for them. Right. It's Ma Rainey's band. Each band member, you get to know who they are in this film, right? Right. Smash the share button, smash the like button, because you will not get a better review of this than what we are putting down right now on hashtag TFR Podcast Live, on hashtag You Found the Spot. Make sure that you write that down. Hashtag You Found the Spot, and go to Google and Google hashtag You Found the Spot and watch this build. Right? So look. There is a discrepancy because Ma Rainey is the mother of the blues. Yeah. But as American blacks started to move up north, their taste began to change. And Levee represents the person who is a little anxious, a little too anxious to push forward with the new. And Ma Rainey said, if it ain't broke, it ain't no need to get it fixed. Right. And so it's a tug of war between the older generation and the younger generation, and in between there is a story being told about each individual character.
August Wilson, the playwright, he did an excellent job, and he revealed to the audience why Levee is the way he is. So we're not going to give anything away. You have to watch it, but it is revealed to you Levee's background and what he experienced growing up. So it does give you a feel for why maybe he is the type of person he is. Right. And so it gives you, but Ma Rainey is not privy to that. Right. Now, so the film is great. Right. I've never seen the play. Maybe I'll go to YouTube and find and check out the play, because I'm sure they have the play up, right? But what I notice when people
pass on. It happened with Lestat and that vampire movie. What was that?
Not Interview with a Vampire, but the something.
Interview with the Vampire with Brad Pitt and Tom
That
Cruise.
was the Vampire of the Damned.
Vampire of the Damned. Queen of the Damned.
Queen of the Damned. That's
right?
it.
When Aaliyah passed on, they cut everything with Aaliyah in it that they had, and the story was disjointed because they just didn't. They wanted to focus on to get people in the box office to see her. Right. When you go to Google and you type in the cast of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Chadwick Boseman's picture is first. When actually Viola Davis's picture should be first because she is the star of the film. He would be co-star.
Yeah.
Right? But because he died, they changed up what it is, and to me, my only criticism about it's great though.
Right.
It's great, it's entertaining. My only criticism about it, my only critique, it's not a criticism, is that they cut it more to, it's less about Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, the recording of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and it's more about the interaction between the band members.
Yeah, that's how the play is set up.
And is it? Yeah. I thought that it was more about Ma Rainey and explaining her. Is that how the play is made up?
That's what I have a feeling. Because when they did Fences, when Denzel did, speaking of that, Denzel was one of the executive producers. Right, for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. But August Wilson also did Fences, right? So when Denzel did Fences, and it's been years since I've seen Fences, they did a really great job.
But who was the star of? Who was the protagonist? The main story was about Denzel's character. So this only goes to reason that they cut more about the band members and less about Ma Rainey.
Okay.
Whereas the movie is called Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Now they gave you enough to know that Ma Rainey was self-determined, and that the people who were recording her were not getting over on her without giving her everything that she desired, that she requested to be there in the hot studio. And on the inside, when it's 110 degrees on the outside, it feels like 125 on the inside without air conditioning. Right?
Yeah.
So you get enough of her story, but it's more about the interplay between the player, between the bandmates, right? And not so much about Ma Rainey. So that's
I feel like they gave me enough to get a feel of Ma Rainey's, her character, as well as her personal life. So I'm not going to go into detail for those who haven't seen it. And then you get a feel for, you're introduced to her, you learn about her personal life, right? And then they move over to the band, and you learn about them.
It was really more
about Levee.
Because the band walks in before she even gets there. Then it shows Levee coming in late for a reason.
But we're not going to give it away. Though it's beautifully done, because I love the interaction between the band members. Like, that was a whole story telling of its own.
That's what I'm saying. But the whole point was, it could have been, the title of the film could have been Levee's,
but it wasn't.
Rise
That's
and
not
Fall
what it was called.
And Ma Rainey's band, because that's really what the context was. That's not how August Wilson wrote it. But that is how they cut
it was still
for this film.
Well done.
And I have to watch it. Not saying that it's not well done. I'm just saying that it was set up because when you shoot film, you shoot a lot of everything. You shoot extended scenes. They could have cut down on the band scenes and had the more extended scenes of Viola Davis, but because Chadwick Boseman put in such good work, I'm not denying his work.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is he put in such good work that they shifted the theme of the play, or what August Wilson was saying, to give Chadwick Boseman his shine.
Kind of like in honor of him.
That's right, in honor of him.
Okay.
And so it goes through and you see this.
Okay. We don't have to watch the play during Christmas.
Yeah, we have to watch the play during Christmas because I'm sure that it's more than that. But now, about the psychosis.
Okay.
There's a psychosis in the film that something happens and somebody should have just killed the Caucasian because you're going to wind up in prison anyway. And that's all we're going to say about that. But the psychosis of it winds up that you do it to your brother and not the other that harms you, right? And so this is where we're going to leave it. Cinematography, 10.
Beautiful.
Wardrobe, 10.
Right.
A period piece, making Chicago that 1920s Chicago. Right. That's a 10. Right. The acting and the emoting of everyone involved. Glenn Turman.
Right.
Domingo.
Yes.
The interplay between the men. Yeah. Right? Yeah. How actually playing the dozens or laughing and making fun of is really rooted in what people really believe about another person. So I never dealt in that because it gets into
it could go
other things. It can go other ways, right? So the emoting, that's a 10. The pacing of it and how they intercut in between to tell a new version of the story, I believe, but we're going to find out. That's a 10. Just overall the low key the low key film, the capture of the hazy sky with the extra large sun beating down this heat, the sweat rolling off of Ma Rainey throughout the film. That is a 10.
And I mean, Viola Davis, I mean, you're talking about dedication. They used padding on her, but she also mentioned that she gained weight for the film also. Mm-hmm. So she was truly dedicated
to the role.
Yeah, it was just well done.
So what would you give?
Definitely a 10. I mean, because it was just so well done. I love ensemble cast. I love the conversations. And it's just, we were laughing actually when we were listening to the band members. Actually, it made you feel like you were a fly on the wall, right? So well written. I mean, it's just like a conversation that you can see people actually having, when they were just talking and telling stories, and it was just well done. And you notice a theme, like it's Sylvie's love, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom musicians. So that was nice, you know. So the music was superb, and this, after hearing her, the performances when Viola in the scenes when she was performing the songs, I said, okay, I'm gonna have to check out Ma Rainey's stuff, because growing up I was always familiar with Bessie Smith, right?
Mm-hmm. Bessie Smith comes in after her.
Yeah, and I was familiar with her years ago. I mean, I remember doing a report on Bessie Smith. This is what is this, music appreciation class that I had to take in college. And so I did a story on Bessie Smith, and we played her music in class.
The first million-seller race records.
Period. She was the first, they said, female.
She was the first million-seller, period.
Period. Bar none. Men, women, didn't matter what race or culture.
That's right.
The first.
First.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but to learn about Ma Rainey, you know, and hearing some of her music, I said, okay, let me listen to some of her stuff. So Viola brought it to life. She definitely brought that character to life.
So, you know, I give it a 10. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is a 10. These are great movies to watch on the holiday. Now, people, the politics. I hate to go to the politics, but there's always some effery in the game, right? There's always some effery in the game. And this right here is effery in the game. So we're watching, you know, what makes watching film from home is you can break and get some more water, some more juice, some more popcorn, whatever you want to get, whatever snack. So we paused Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and when we paused it on the scene. And you know how Netflix comes up, it'll pause on the scene and it'll come up with the name of the film that you're watching. Well, the film that came up, this is the bass player in Ma Rainey's band, right? This is the still. I took a photo of it. It comes up and it says Queen's Gambit. It says Queen's Gambit is the film that we are watching.
And that just gave us a flashback.
A flashback.
Like, what? I mean, it just goes way back as far as, I mean, Belly. When we saw Belly and in the theater. When, and you know, the whole thing about them switching like the tickets and not giving Belly credit for all of the tickets sold.
That's
because
right.
The theater was sold out with Belly. And when they just like was giving numbers at the end and then was talking about like the tickets was low, it was like no. And then you hear later that there was a accident, right?
Right.
And,
see, this is what we looked at.
We saw it in Idlewild. Not to cut you off, we seen it happen with that when that was in the theater.
We looked at our ticket stubs and it said It said Belly, right? Mm-hmm. But in certain places, it was being switched, and the ticket stub that people were getting were ticket stubs for a Disney movie.
Yeah, and that theater apologized, I guess.
I mean, no. This was theater, but to make this happen, it had to be theater chains in on it, not just one. Yeah. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove, but it had to be theater chains in on it, right? So look, Belly, directed by Hype Williams, is one of the greatest
visually beautiful, classic
American black gangster films ever made, because it had a conscious element to it of the person trying to get out the game, who in the end was successful. If you have, we're not talking about Belly 2. We're talking about Belly. If you do not have that in your collection, you are missing out. It was shot low key. It is a beautiful piece. Again, the richness of American black skin. And there were multicultural black people in the story. So the richness of skin, period, of the black diaspora in the film, right? Hype Williams, one of the greatest American black gangster films ever made, was Belly. One of the greatest gangster musical films ever made was Idlewild. If you don't have it in your collection, if you didn't go see it, but we know that you went to go see it, but they did the switch of the tickets again because they didn't want Hype Williams, in my opinion, in. Right, but that is one of the greatest films, two of the greatest films that were unsung, right? So look.
Oh, and lastly, Friday, the theater is packed. You had to go to the manager.
No, that wasn't
Was it
Friday.
part 2?
That was
Because it was an Ice Cube film.
It was an Ice Cube film, and they had turned the sound down
super low,
right? So it was super low, and I had to go to the manager, and they gave everybody their money back. It was a scam,
purposely,
right? So that the box office wouldn't be as great, because people would get their money back and not think about that the theater was messed up, but think that, you know how some black people are, they start talking negatively against the people, like what they did to Cube concerning the politics, but we're not on that.
Because then it wasn't the film, because after speaking to them, the man did turn the volume up. They turned the volume up, and
No, that was when we were out here, and we went to go see.
Which one was that?
We
had to have them turn the volume up twice on 2 films.
We were out here, and they had the sound down on the film, and I went and told them, you need to turn that.
Was that dope?
It was Nate Parker's.
Oh, they did that,
Nat Turner. And they had it turned down. The previews were turned down. I said, I've seen this picture before with Ice Cube's film. I said, this is not going to happen.
Again, right.
And they sat there, and the dude stood down there. They had a black man as the manager that day. So he stood there looking at the projectionist, and I sat there. I was sitting in the middle, and I said, Lord, and it's got the right sound, and we were able to enjoy the film, not trying to listen to everything Nat Turner was saying.
Purposefully.
So this right here, seeing Queen's Gambit on Netflix on the still of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
We like, here we go again. We just trying to enjoy the film.
We were trying to enjoy the film. We just so happened to put it on pause to go get some more water, right? And to enjoy it further. And is this giving the credit to Queen's Gambit? There's no way that, Queen's Gambit, we were going to watch that film and review it. But because this happened, we're not watching Queen's Gambit. There's no way Queen's Gambit is going to outdo Ma Rainey's Black Bottom with Black Panther in it as co-star. No way. But it is a way if the Matrix, the O's and the ones and the ones and the O's are reading that you're watching Queen's Gambit when you're watching
Ma Rainey. That throws the numbers off.
And so this is old as ticket stubs.
Seen it before.
So I wrote Viola on her. I took this photo and I went to her Twitter and I left the picture there, and then I went to her Instagram.
So they could straighten it out.
Yeah. And so that they could straighten it out so that she would know that if they come in low, this is what's coming on, and you got it from hashtag TFR Podcast Live, hashtag you found the spot, right? No. Why do we always have to talk about American black politics? Because of intellectual property stealing and intellectual property stealing credit from something to give it to something else, right? To steal and give something else. Now, maybe this was just a glitch. But as you watch Ma Rainey, you should every now and then pause and see what title comes up. Yeah. Because if Queen's Gambit comes, we're not watching that shit.
Who is that? Okay, so is it DLS?
DLS says that's why I always check my tickets. Tanya Congress, that kind of mistake doesn't just happen in the theater.
Exactly, right? Tanya, right?
It can happen with music. It can happen because they say numbers don't lie.
Yeah, and we moving forward, we do the same thing now. Also, DLS, we look at our stubs as well, and if they play with the volume of a film in the theater, we talk to management. Hey, fix this. So because it reflects that artist, it reflects that project. So we are very vocal when we see that something is not right.
Right. So, you know, that's why we have to talk American black politics. Wanna know why? Because the same things have been happening for centuries.
And we just wanted to just talk about the film, review the movies.
But unfortunately, the same trickery, the same trick of ticks, the same devilment is still in the game, and you burying your head in the sand will not change it. You can't pray it away. When the people want to do you harm, they will do you harm.
What's that Jay-Z? What song is it? I'm trying to think, and when he said they just keep pulling me
they keep pulling me back
into the politics.
So it's the politics. That's why we talk American black politics for shitty cuz things like this. And for shitty cuz things where they stole my intellectual property, talking about the way we were. You didn't have that idea. But anyway.
Witches.
HBO
Max.
Google. That's right. HBO Max. Now, what makes this interesting? What makes this so interesting is it is a remake of an earlier Witches.
Oh, okay.
Right? Angelica Houston. And what you find is this story revolves around an American black family who is, I won't say victimized, but they are troubled by witches, right? This is what this story is about. They are troubled by witches. Now, as the folklore is told, witches don't like children and they want to find a way to destroy children. Does this sound somewhat familiar to what's happening? Witches do not like children. There's certain other folklore. Witches don't have toes. Witches wear gloves.
This movie is so
Witches
cute.
wear.
Yeah, you hear all
Wait
of
a minute. This is in the trailer, so
it's in the trailer?
This is part of them wanting to get the film seen.
Okay.
Witches don't wear gloves. They wear gloves because they don't have hands. They have claws.
Oh yeah, claws.
Right?
Yeah.
They don't have lips. They have smiles that go all the way
like
to their ears.
Joker, huh?
Like the Jokers with teeth, like fangy teeth. And they don't have hair. They wear wigs. And when they take their wigs
they
off,
have a rash, right?
They are rash,
Wig
but
rash.
they are totally bald.
Yeah.
And these are the creatures.
Yes.
One in particular that chooses to bear down on the character that Chris Rock is narrating, retelling the story of his childhood, when he goes to live with his grandmother. And that's what we will say about that.
But originally, prior to COVID, this was supposed to be a theater release.
That's right.
Right. So I remembered like from the previews and was excited about it because I knew Chris Rock was a part of it and Octavia Spencer was a part of it, right? So I was excited about it. So when we learned that it was on HBO Max, yeah, we decided to watch it. But it is just so cute, like what you was just saying, like all of the little tales, folklore about witches and the different. It's so great film.
So you have to watch this film, right? Cute. Chris Rock's year in 2020 was going to be incredible. He was back there with Dave Chappelle when Dave Chappelle hosted Saturday Night Live again. Right. He was in Fargo. He was coming out with his own version of Saw.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And he was going to be narrating this about a black family that is plagued by witches. His year was going to be, I wouldn't say it would be a comeback because he's always there, but this would have been put Chris Rock at his height, right? Eric Johnson said, "What's up, y'all? What's up,
hey,
Eric Johnson? How you doing?" You know, Eric Johnson is the one who brought me down No, he didn't bring me down. I was in the dormitory in the class program, and he was a mentor, and he came into the dorm room, heard me DJing, and said, I'm going to get you the Alpha Icebreaker in 1999, and the rest is history. Salute to that man. Alpha Phi Alpha, 1906, right? Put me on the campus, and I started, putting me on as a DJ, then I started doing the Kalpas. I did one party for the Qs, and then I did the Deltas, and we never got to get to the AKAs. Hey, stuff happens. But anyway, look, people. So shout out to Eric Johnson. What's up to you? Good to see that you're tuning in. All right, people. So Witches. Let's go through the cast real quick.
Okay, so starring Octavia Spencer, Anne Hathaway, Jazar Bruno, he plays the young man, hero in the film. Stanley Tucci, Kristen Chenoweth, Morgana Robinson, Zeke Taylor, Josette Simon, Cody Lee Ustick, he plays Bruno Jenkins, friends of hero.
Right.
Yeah.
So, look here. This is a great movie to watch any time of year. It came out for Halloween, right? And we were on hiatus, so we didn't get a chance to really talk about it, right? But no worries, because we're talking about it now. It is good to watch in any time period. It's not just for Halloween, though it came out on Halloween. It will keep you entertained during this period that we are in, where they are trying to push off onto some people an experimental agent during this time that we are in, because it will soon be time to batten down the hatches once more, once again, in your home and have everything that you need. So look, people, what would you rate? Well, first of all, cinematography, 10. Special effects, CGI makeup, 10. The locations, the set design, 10. The clothing, the wardrobe, 10. The storyline, through line, 10. The animations, 10. The folklore that they tell, 10. The use. What was that season of American Horror Story where it was Angela Bassett? It was the
that was
witches
my favorite
versus the voodoo women.
Yeah, that was the best season.
If you have, that is the best season of American Horror Story that there ever was, right? And this is what this is about, because I'm just gonna give you a little bit that the grandmother is deep in being a root woman. That's what we're going to say. And usually when you're a root woman, usually by American Horror Story, the witches really don't have nothing going, because theirs is based on something else, and yours is based in the earth. But anyway, people, so all of that being said, what would you rate Witches?
I would give it a 10, because I love the relationship between Octavia Spencer's, the relationship between her character and her grandson, right? So we don't want to give it away and say what happens and how they came together, but I love the relationship that they have, and I love that it's just a story. No stereotypes, no buffoonery. It's just well written. The acting is superb. Anne Hathaway, she's a great actress as well. She is believable as the main witch. She is quite wicked in this film. So, I mean, I love the imagination, the child's imagination in the film, and it's just beautifully done. The colors is visually beautiful. Stanley Tucci is a great actor as well, so it's a stellar cast, and it is really worth seeing.
It is worth seeing, right? So you give it a 10.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Are you saying that you give it a 10?
A 10.
Right. What would I give it? Anything that I disagree with in the film? Let me see. Is there anything that I could say, hey, I don't quite like
and it was funny too. It's a funny film.
Yes, it's a funny film, funny. Right?
Yeah.
So let me see, is there anything? No, there's nothing that I can disagree with the film with. I give it a 10. It's entertaining. It will keep you entertained during batting down the hatches, right? So now, people, let us say that this has been another great, robust episode of #TFR Podcast Live on #YouFoundTheSpot. Right? Make sure that you Google #YouFoundTheSpot and you will see everything. Let us tell you real quick. Let's tell you real quick as we come to the end there. Let me move this over a little bit so that you can see the other shows. As you see, we have our merch coming out, but what we want to talk about is, of course, we come on starting January 3rd at our regular time, which is 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, right? Okay. Then we have My Sister and I that begins back January 4th, 2021. So this begins January 3rd, 2021. This begins January 4th, 2021 from 9:30 a.m. Pacific.
Right.
That's Pacific.
Right.
12:30 p.m. Eastern. And we go 5 days a week bringing information that you will find very interesting and very important to. It might even save your life. We're going to save pocket revenue. We're going to save you pocket revenue with our reviews on #TFR Podcast Live. The show with my sister and I is #Observations TFR.
Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday. Again, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. And then we have a new selection to our podcast family. It's, what's it called, Tanya? What's your show called?
Oh.
What's it called, Tanya? What's it called? I want Tanya to comment real quick. Can she comment real quick? Can she comment in the comments? Because it's very important that people see you and hear you. Yes. Right? So that's why we want you to say what your show is if you can, right? Mm-hmm. If she's not on, no worries, because right here, people, it's called What's the Point? And it comes on Sundays at 9 a.m. Pacific, at 12 p.m. Eastern on Sundays. And it is a 5-block shows. It's a 5-block shows dropping information because my sisters have
what's
shows.
The point?
That's right. Tanya Congress. Make sure that you go to Facebook and you friend her, Tanya Congress. That's my sister. Her show is What's the Point? Sundays. 9:30 a.m. Pacific. 12:30 p.m. Eastern, right? And that starts, I believe that's the 10th when she starts. That's that first Sunday, the second Sunday in January, I believe. But check the listings because they will be on Blog Talk Radio. Make sure you go to Blog Talk Radio to #YouFoundTheSpot and join and become a member so that you can listen to the shows. Also, what's playing right now on #YouFoundTheSpot is just movie reviews. That's I and my wife, right? And we give just the movie reviews. There are the reviews from #TFR Podcast Live broke up into just the movie reviews, right? because we have reviewed so many films, and we are in the middle of this situation where they are trying to push experimental agent on people, and people will be in their homes. And while you are in your homes, you can listen to just movie reviews and know what to save your pocket revenue on because of the reviews, because we have reviewed a lot of films since we began.
Okay, Tanya said on the 10th.
On the 10th, that's right. Yes. The old noggin is still clicking, right? So the just movie reviews, right? Yep. So you go there, you listen to the movie reviews. They come up. We've had so many reviews that the show goes 5 days a week. Yeah. We started last Wednesday, right? And it goes 5 days a week. No, it goes 6 days a week. Goes on Saturday too. And we give the reviews, and it comes on at 7 p.m. on Blog Talk Radio. You just go right over to Blog Talk Radio, type in just movie reviews, and the whole listing will come up. Or you can go over to Google and type in just movie reviews, hashtag you found the spot, and all the listings of as they come up, they will come up, and you'll be able to listen to them and save pocket revenue because of the reviews that we do. Listen, people, we weren't even supposed to be here this long. We did a full show. It has become effortless. We like to say what's up to everyone who listens to us in the continent of Africa, in the continent of Europe, in the continent of North America, which includes Canada, the United States, Mexico. We want to say what's up to everybody in South America that listens to us, right? We want to say everybody that's in Australia, that's in Vietnam, that's in South Korea, Japan, China. We want to shout out to all of the globe that listens to hashtag TFR Podcast Live. And don't forget that we are on Google Podcasts. We are on iHeartRadio. We are on Spotify. We are on, did I say Apple Podcasts? Did I say that? Did I say that? I said Google Podcast. And then there's any of your favorite podcast providers we are on, right? So we like to appreciate you and say that we appreciate you. We would like to appreciate, like we always do. We appreciate you coming in and being with us on this pop-up, because there's so many great films to review, and we wanted to give you the information on those films.
Small acts, they definitely have to watch.
That's right. And when we come back January 3rd, we're going to be reviewing such films as Small Acts. That's a series by Steve McQueen. We reviewed that before we went on hiatus, but it's a series. So we're going to review, and we're going to be taking phone calls. 213-943-3358. Lock this in your phone. 213-943-3358. Lock it in your phone so you can call in and discuss with us. Also good for hashtag Observations TFR. Observations TFR in 2021. We are turning it up. We are bringing in special guests to interview. We're going to be talking about their observations on things, right? We're turning it up. If you want to have your podcast on hashtag You Found the Spot, get in contact with us. It's easy to do. Information at YouFoundTheSpot.net. Information at YouFoundTheSpot.net. Don't forget, We are doing it for the children to teach them behind the scenes. I specialize in sound. Sound gets people across the globe. I also specialize in film, but sound most definitely. We are fundraising with our new t-shirt. Click the link that is in this description at the top. It will take you to this t-shirt fundraiser. We ask that you would donate to the cause to make it happen. We appreciate you and those who have businesses. And we're opening up for people who just want to come in and just talk. You do it, we bring you on the show, and we will discuss movies with you as a special guest host. Or if you have a business, you can come on and you can promote your business. And it's cross-marketing because you'll be wearing the shirt and you'll be talking to business. And when you go places, you'll say, the spot, that's where I'm on. I'm on episode such and such and such on the spot. And then when you come up in the different Google searches, in the different platforms of podcasts, you are seeing globally, and it's cross-marketing, and it's for a minimal donation. That's how it works, people. People thought that I was in business and I never advertised. I advertised with the DJs. I funded people's DJ covers. I advertised on television. I advertised in people's magazines. I did my own print ad. I worked with the high schools to make sure that they were funded. I even did a t-shirt contest where the people won $1,000.
Yeah, they designed
they took the Crazy D shirt, cut it up. The models cut it up. The model who won got $1,000. The people who did the song, they were a group. They got $1,000. They split 500. We were out in the mall a few years later, and she said that money helped me. One of the rappers said that money helped me pay for one semester of schooling. So we have done our part, and we understand how it is to market and promote. Give me that right there. You see this, people? We know how to market and promote. This is a platinum plaque. I don't show it too often because, I don't believe that I have to show everything. But when you get closer to it, I gotta dust it. Well, I gotta dust this off. See, this is impromptu. Look at the amount of numbers sold of Mary, of Common, of Shaggy and Cleveland's own Avant. You see what I'm saying? We know how to market and promote. I don't wear it on my sleeve. I don't talk about it. I don't say, hey, I did it. I just say that I can do this for you, and you should believe. So people, our donations, this is our fundraiser. It's only 22 days left now, and we want to get this done for the children, right? So people, listen. You have been watching another great episode of hashtag TFR Podcast Live. That's hashtag TFR Podcast Live on hashtag You Found the Spot. It's the Spot podcast platform. What would you like to say?
Yeah, because during this COVID, right, and prior to COVID, we were able to go into the schools and work with kids. But now during this whole COVID, it's like the kids are at home and everything is being done virtually, right? So we'll teach them virtually because it's just, sometimes I feel children are being forgotten because we talk about the suicide rates as far as adults. But locally, we were watching the news and they said, I believe, 20 children within our county committed suicide at home, right? And that's just locally. So I can just can't imagine how many other children who have committed suicides, because we know the rates are really high as far as suicide for adults. Because dealing with COVID and having lose loved ones, and people are losing work, and so, like, if you have any children in your family or just friends with kids and you want them to do something fun virtually and they can learn how to
work that sound
and learn how to work a camera. And
because I can tell you, there's a lot of videographers, but there are very few filmmakers. There are videographers, and they might be able to sync lips. I doubt it, but they're able to put music underneath an image or whatever, but they are not able to make that sound, that mic sound like anything. That's where Crazy D comes in. So look, people, we appreciate you tuning in on this pop-up. We might start doing these pop-ups when the regular season starts, just to pop in. How y'all like the new digs? You know, I worked on this. This is great. Look at the bottom there. You can go right there. Don't forget to go to the Cash App and give, if you just want to give a couple of dollars, $ TFR Podcast Live, $ TFR Podcast Live. But to be on the program as a business, or you want to help the children, click the link at the top of this description and it will take you there. And we appreciate you. We appreciate you for tuning in. We appreciate you for listening. And make sure that you check out about Ma Rainey. Make sure that you check out Sylvie'S Love when it comes out. Make it #1 on Prime.
Yes. And Witches on HBO Max.
But make Sylvie.
Make it #1.
#1 on
Prime. It is worthy.
It is worthy. It is an Afro-mance, a true Afro-mance. All right, people. So you've been watching another robust episode of hashtag TFR Podcast Live, now on the spot. Hashtag you found the spot.
Yes.
After we get up here, go to Google and type in hashtag, all one word, you found the spot, and lock it in and come back periodically and watch the build.
Right.
We love y'all.
Yes, we do. Be safe, healthy, and well.
We are officially, right now, we are officially out of here. We appreciate you.
The Film Review, Movies, Music, Culture, Politics, Society podcast, interviews, movie reviews, and more. Live Sundays at 5:30 p.m. on the Film Review Live channel.